What has simultaneously gotten worse and more expensive? Cable television. More commercials. Channels upon channels of crap. Ridiculous bill. I remember the donuts at Dunkin' Donuts to be bigger and cheaper. There used to be this burger joint called Joe's Cablacanemi. Great place. I miss it so much. A few months before it closed down, I was there and the owner, Joe, was having a heated conversation with one of his suppliers on the phone. After he hung up, he looked over at me and just said, "Price goes up, quality goes down." It took me a while to realize that that wasn't an asshole supplier he was dealing with. Just a fact of life. People like Joe can't tolerate that. That's why the truly great things never last. Only the mediocre things are able to endure long enough to degrade into the universally hated embodiment of entropy that the physical world allows for. New homes. Cookie cutter houses. Built with cheap contractors who cut corners left and right. Situated in neighborhoods with ever higher HOA fees, and the HOAs are getting more expensive too. My university education. Specifically this year, they are raising tuition and fall semester has no in-person sessions. Photo booths? Oh, the old ones were so cool. 4 different real photos for $1. Now you pay $7 for 4 identical bad laser prints. Everything Nestle takes over. College education in the US. People outside the UK probably won't care, but the Christmas tins of Quality Street. Ice cream containers that were originally 1/2 gallon have been shrinking. They went from 64 ounces to 56 ounces and now 48 ounces. But the price hasn't shrunk. It's been increasing steadily, and the quality often isn't as good as it used to be when containers were a true 1/2 gallon. This coming from an avid Apple user. Apple computers. I'd rather take 1 centimeter extra thickness and more ports than using a hub for everything. College tuition. When I hear college used to be paid with a summer job, my eyes get watery. I'm a college student. Scented candles. Yankee Candle in particular used to be the candle that was considered premium, but while they've never been cheap, at least a while ago it was worth the money. But now they are just exorbitant in price. They don't smell like they used to, and they are not worth the money. I'm sure this will get overlooked, but KFC. I remember growing up a whole family could eat there and it was great. Now it's just garbage. Super greasy, and will cost you an arm and a leg for a dang bucket of chicken. They have gotten way worse and the price has went up. Certain house appliances. My grandma has had the same fridge for 40 years. My parents recently had to replace theirs. It's their 3rd in 20 years. Ice cream with fudge in it. Used to get massive slabs of fudge, now they just have tiny nuggets. Buffalo Wild Wings. I don't know if it's just me, but their prices have gone up and the quality has gone down. Face razors. They had it perfected with double-edged blades in a metal razor. Cheap and incredible shaves. Modern plastic disposable razors are worse on your skin, give a worse shave, and grotesquely expensive. They are nothing more than monopolies controlling the availability and accessibility. When you go to the razor section at the store, you can only choose from their garbage. I give double-edged metal razors to men and women loved ones as gifts, and universally their minds are blown realizing how much better and less expensive they are. As a somewhat older person born in the late 60s, ducking everything. Clothes fall apart and there are no classic styles anymore unless you want to pay out the nose. Christmas ornaments are just junk now. It's heartbreaking when I think about my teens and 20s. My first job and apartment I could rent with cash left over for concerts on the reg. It was awesome, and I am now wondering what's left. If I didn't have an aunt and mom who care so much about me, I'd probably just give up the ghost. I've had my good years, and now trying to re-enter the employment market and try to adult again is disheartening. I could never afford an apartment on my own anymore, and I don't get along well with a lot of people. I value my privacy. It's a college world out there now. And with only a HS education and even with 15 years of admin experience, people pay absolute it, and my work ethic has taken a deep dive because if I make things more efficient, they'll get rid of me and hire a part-timer rather than give a raise or anything. Never used to be that way. Then again, there were no human resources departments back then. It was just a small personnel office. The name alone shows how companies think of their people. Just a resource. Edit. Wow. I didn't expect my little diatribe to get so much attention. Thanks. I swear that Reese's peanut butter cups have gotten it here over the years. The peanut butter seems chalkier and the chocolate tastes blander. Plus I can't ever seem to pry them out of that little cup wrapper without leaving the bottom chocolate skin stuck to it. I think the push to put them in the freezer and eat them chilled is a ploy to cover the declining quality. Clothes. Very few companies make clothes to last and fast fashion is rising while the cost of items continue to increase. As someone shopping for a house, I have to say homes. Not only has the real estate market been ridiculously inflated, especially in my residence, I'm finding that the actual quality of a lot of these homes are absoluted. Due to the ability to find and source cheap materials and labor, developers are able to make huge profits off high prices and low costs. It's making me really rethink if I want to buy a house, or just use all that money to aggressively invest. Disney theme parks. Speaking pre-COVID world, they were better when you could do an entire park in a day. Cost much less, like $40 versus whatever the insane price is now, and they limited who could get in. Universal is the same way, specifically Halloween Horror Nights. It was $15 the first time I went. They capped how many tickets they sold and you had time to do every house plus a couple of rides. It was my favorite and we would go every year. Now, it's like $70 for a ticket. You have to buy Fast Pass for another $30 or $40 just so you have a chance to do every house because the lines can literally be hours long because they don't cap ticket sales and they recycle the same houses but pretend it's a new theme. It's so miserable we stopped going. Prague. I went earlier this year. It feels like Disneyland with the amount of tourists and tourist traps. And it isn't really cheap anymore compared with other cities in Europe. I visited Poland, Gdansk and Wrocław twice last year and enjoyed those trips a lot more. Gaming. Mainly microtransactions and subscription-based purchases. Smarties. Never been right since they got rid of all the artificial colors. Better for you, I'm sure, but chemical blue was the best flavor. Food, unless you make it yourself. Even then ingredient quality is lacking unless you're dropping way too much money. Smartphones in general. They made it less modular and more disposable. It's like you're forced to change your phone every 2 years. Even when the only problem is a battery which in the past is removable and can easily be replaced. Insurance in general. THX Congress and lobbyists for ducking everyone over. This goes for both political parties in Congress currently if it's not obvious yet. Then I hate both parties with a passion. Air travel. Remember when you got a meal? Remember when you didn't have to pay to check a bag? Remember when your friends could wait at the gate for you? Cable internet providers. Oh yes, sorry, your trial period was over. Your bill went up $200. Oh no, we didn't promise you 200 MBs download speed constantly. We said up to. Read the fine print. D. Movies. Bigger budgets. Less creative concepts writing. Most blockbusters are just derivative of pre-existing intellectual property. Feels Bidman. Coca-Cola. No real sugar. Just HFCS. A shrinkflation has hit soda pretty hard. All candy kinda sucks more and you get less. You should be asking what hasn't. Wood is getting worse because old growth makes the best building lumber. But of course if you cut down all the old trees there are no more old trees to cut down. Any service ever. Not gonna lie, modern business is based on a model of cutting costs. Reese's peanut butter cups. Their big cup is basically the size of their original cup for double the price. Also it tastes different. I remember as a kid the original peanut butter cups came in those 4 packs and you could individually peel away the chocolate from the peanut butter. Like, part of the game for me was to try to peel back the chocolate so all I had was an intact peanut butter disc. Can't do that anymore. The chocolate is super thin and has no snap to it. It's just mush. Big Macs. That burger patty is a stone's throw away from being a slice of roast beef. Healthcare. Schooling. Clothes quality. So yeah, everything someone works his ass for. Education. Long ago, the premise of institutional education provided promise. As the information age progresses, the quality of institutional education has dramatically reduced, but the expenses of education has risen dramatically. With the rise of computers and online education, people are learning elsewhere even though the legitimacy of institutional certification remains large. For that reason, the quality of education received is vastly poor, since people will be enrolling regardless of any pressure to improve themselves. Almost everything, planned obsolescence and expediency, has taken the place of quality and craftsmanship. Running for political office. Concert tickets. Hear me out. I'm not saying concerts are getting worse, but the entire process for getting tickets, as well as the pricing, have gotten worse. You used to be able to see big bands for like up to $100, but now every concert is literally hundreds of dollars for a nosebleed seat alone for any band. Now, instead of going to retailers to buy physical tickets, we are buying from IT corporations like StubHub and Ticketmaster, who on occasion scam people and duck around with ticket pricing as a result of the online move, meaning that ticket sellers can now be subtly scummy. Fast food. I'm lucky to get a meal under $10 and even more lucky if it's accurate. Cadbury chocolate. At least over here in UK it has cheaper ingredients. Sizes have shrunk and keep on shrinking. The price has stayed the same, so you're paying more for less. Doesn't taste the same. Most of their chocolate tastes chalky and bland and the texture is terrible. For me, the movie going experience. Tickets have skyrocketed in price. So have snacks, drinks, etc. Then you get the pleasure of sitting through 30 minutes of ads and previews. Then the sound is usually ducked up and way too loud or completely unbalanced. Typical incredibly loud action sequences, but you can't hear all the ducking mumbling actors. Duck you Eddie Redmayne. I've been to maybe 2 or 3 movies a year until COVID hit. Not sure I'll ever go back. Realtor fees for buying and selling a house. I'm less than a year removed from this process and saw firsthand how silly the old model of using a realtor is. There was a time when a realtor was needed, but not anymore. Yet this archaic profession is still the gatekeeper to much of the process and inventory. Their fee is still 6-7%, yet what they actually do has diminished to what an algorithm can do better. They are warm bodies that needlessly eat up money on both ends of the sale. Insurance. Costs more but seems to have clauses for everything that it doesn't cover. Bar soap. Smaller and let in the middle. That bend don't impress me. College. You read the book and teach yourself. Then you get tested on the material you taught yourself. Reddit. More ads. Corporate and state shilling. More it posts. Worse website. Like adding not just profile pictures, but allowing profile gifs. Girl Scout cookies. I remember people whining when I sold them back in the day when they were $2.50 a box. Now they're what? $5 box? And not nearly as tasty as they used to be, emo.